There is a dangerous illusion that traps creators right when they begin to understand the system, a subtle shift where confidence starts to grow but clarity is still incomplete. And in that phase, many people believe they have figured it out. Yet their results remain inconsistent, unpredictable, sometimes a video performs, sometimes it completely dies, and this inconsistency creates confusion because now it's no longer about effort, it's about control. And the uncomfortable truth is this: until you understand repeatability, you don't truly understand growth. Because a single viral video can be an accident, but consistent performance is never accidental. It is engineered. It is built on patterns that can be identified, tested, and refined. And the creators who grow rapidly are not the ones who got lucky once. They are the ones who understood why something worked and then replicated the underlying structure without copying the surface. Because copying what is visible rarely works, but understanding what is invisible changes everything. And what is invisible to most people is the idea of audience alignment, the precise match between what the viewer expects and what your video delivers, not just in topic, but in tone, pacing, and emotional payoff. Because when this alignment is strong, the viewer feels understood, they feel like the content was made for them, and that feeling creates deeper engagement, longer watch time, and stronger reactions. But when alignment is weak, even slightly, something feels off. The viewer may not be able to explain it, but they sense it, and that subtle disconnect causes them to disengage, sometimes slowly, sometimes instantly, and the algorithm picks up on that behavior immediately, adjusting distribution accordingly, often without giving you any clear indication of what went wrong. This is why niche clarity matters more than variety in the early stages, because when your content is too broad, too scattered, the algorithm struggles to understand who your audience really is, and without that understanding, it cannot effectively recommend your videos. But when your content is focused, when it consistently attracts a specific type of viewer, the system begins to recognize patterns, begins to identify who is most likely to watch and engage, and that recognition leads to better targeting, better reach, and ultimately faster growth. At the same time, there is another layer that most creators ignore: the difference between passive viewers and active viewers, because not all views are equal. Some viewers watch silently and leave, while others engage, comment, share, and return. And these active viewers are far more valuable, not just because of engagement metrics, but because they signal strong interest, strong connection, and that signal is something the algorithm heavily prioritizes. And this is where content depth comes into play, not in terms of complexity, but in terms of how much it invites reaction, because content that makes people think, question, or feel strongly is far more likely to generate interaction, and interaction amplifies reach, creating a feedback loop where engagement leads to visibility, and visibility leads to more engagement. But here's the catch: forcing engagement rarely works. Asking for likes and comments without providing a reason feels empty, and viewers can sense that instantly, which is why the most effective engagement is natural, emerging from the content itself, from the ideas you present, from the perspectives you challenge, from the emotions you trigger. And then there is the concept of timing, something that is often misunderstood, because while trends can boost visibility, they are not the foundation of growth, they are accelerators, and without a strong core structure, chasing trends becomes a cycle of short-term spikes followed by long-term stagnation. But when you combine strong structure with relevant timing, that's when content gains both momentum and longevity. Meanwhile, your channel as a whole begins to form an identity, not just a collection of videos, but a recognizable pattern of style, tone, and value. And this identity plays a crucial role in growth, because when viewers know what to expect from you, they are more likely to return, more likely to subscribe, and more likely to engage consistently. And consistency here does not mean repetition, it means reliability, the ability to deliver a certain level of experience every time, even if the topic changes, even if the format evolves, because what viewers are really subscribing to is not just your content, but your ability to deliver something worth their time. At this stage, small details begin to matter more than ever. The way you transition between segments, the clarity of your voice, the precision of your edits, the balance between information and emotion. Because once the foundation is strong, these details become the difference between good performance and exceptional performance. And this is also where patience becomes critical, because growth at this level is no longer instant. It becomes cumulative, each video building on the previous one, each improvement compounding over time. And while it may not always feel dramatic, it is far more stable, far more sustainable. Because ultimately, the goal is not just to go viral once, but to build a system where virality becomes more likely, more predictable, more repeatable, and that system is built on understanding, not guessing, on strategy, not randomness, on alignment, not assumption. And once you reach that point, once you can look at your own content and clearly see why it works or why it doesn't, you are no longer at the mercy of the algorithm. You are working with it, shaping your content in a way that naturally fits the system, and that is when growth stops feeling like a mystery and starts feeling like control.